You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Please, before I begin this content, take a few seconds just to hit that like button. Y'all been following me long enough to know it's already going to be good. It's already going to be wholesome. So take that second to hit this like button, because I know sometimes when we get into the content, we forget to hit the like button, so if you just go ahead and do it now, get that out the way, I would definitely appreciate it. I'm trying to push the video through the algorithms, you know what I'm saying? So look out for your girl. I would gladly appreciate that. Anybody who wants to donate to my content, you're more than welcome. $ DYOMDGYRL is my Cash App information. So those of you who cannot donate, at least donate a like. I would appreciate it. So getting into this right away, because I thought it was very imperative that I shared this, due to the fact that you don't have many women who speak on submissiveness. And I find it very ironic that you have a lot of these men, a lot of male content creators who have their own perception of what submissiveness is, as far as them receiving it from a woman. But what better way to really understand the dialect of submissiveness coming from a woman? Okay, being that by nature we are supposed to be the givers of submissiveness when it comes to following the order of the household or the traditional marriages, however you choose to formulate that. But what better way to have a better understanding on it than to hear it coming from a woman? Because the truth is, I don't knock a lot of what these male content creators are doing, but a lot of the information or the knowledge that they share comes from a very egotistical standpoint. And not only that, in many cases it's very biased. It's egotistical, it's biased, and a lot of it is unfortunately coming from a place of not really respecting the value of women, and whenever you're dealing with somebody that's sharing knowledge and content from a bitter male perspective, from an egotistical male perspective, the knowledge sometimes gets misconstrued in the delivery of the message you're trying, the delivery of the narrative that you're trying to promote. It could come off as kind of sexist, and that's why I felt it was imperative for me to put in my 2 cents with this situation, especially in regards to the Jeannie Mai and Jeezy, rapper Young Jeezy divorce. Everybody's been all over it. Everybody's been talking about it. And basically a lot of the talk that's surrounding the issues, the discussions surrounding Jeannie Mai and Young Jeezy, a lot of it has to do with the fact that, for one, there's a non-colored woman involved, and then secondly, you have a black man, and third, you have 2 individuals that have their own issues, which eventually, became the demise of the marriage. But the biggest thing is there's this assumption that non-colored women are more humble, they're more submissive, they are more willing to allow the man to lead, and there's this assumption that they're less of a challenge. Dealing with black women is very difficult. We're complicated. We don't know how to stay in our place as women. We're always trying to take on the role as a man. So, for some reason, when it comes to women, we are all compartmentalized in different areas when men tend to differentiate us. Okay, they place all of us in a certain category. And when it comes to submissiveness, black women, we are at the bottom of the totem pole. And it's a lot of myths surrounding black women, women of color, that don't uphold that soft feminine energy of being submissive and allowing the man to lead. This is very, very false, because if truth be told, if you look back during the slavery era, women, importantly black women, our ancestors, we have always been programmed to cater to men. We not only had to cater to our ancestors, not only catered to their slave husbands, they also had to cater to the white masters, and they also had to cater to the white master's wife. So black women from the beginning of time have always been programmed and enforced to submit. So even though, since the beginning of our time, colored women have always been programmed to be submissive. Over time, changes within the world, changes within society, and especially when the feminist era came about, it slowly but surely derailed and declined, the morals as far as women subjecting themselves to finding that thin line between being submissive and not perceiving it as slavery. And not only that, men have also changed their morals and their outlook on leadership and being able to uphold leadership abilities. Let's just be honest. All men are not capable of being good leaders. Not all men are capable of being good leaders as husbands, as fathers, as bosses. Just like you have some women that are not fully gifted in being wives and being mothers. Just because you can produce something or because you have the privilege of having something, it does not mean you are anointed in that gift. Anybody could be married and not be husband or wife material. Anybody could have a child and not be mother or father material. So there's this there's this lack of confusion that because you can have something or you're easily able to obtain it, it automatically makes you entitled to being able to say that you're qualified in that area. So we have a lot of that going on. So nevertheless, over time, submissiveness has definitely declined, and a lot of it has to do with women do not respect their position as women anymore. And a lot of that pretty much started, when the rapid increase in single parent households. And it didn't just contribute just from women being single mothers. It also contributed from men that are absentee fathers, not wanting to hold up that role again of being leaders. A lot of men and women have misplaced their roles. You have men trying to be women and women trying to be men. You have women who have basically put themselves in a position in which they have to handle everything, based off the decisions that they made, based off the type of men they decided to have children from, based on the type of mindset they had when they chose these type of men to have children from. All of that has a lot to do with the reason why a lot of women are pretty much suffering and paying the price and having to do it all on their own. And then again, we have men who lack leadership abilities, never want to take on the role of being a man by providing and protecting his family. And this is not the case with all men and all women. Let me first start off by saying, if this does not apply, you don't have to reply. Now, I have had a couple of brothers coming over here because y'all in y'all feelings, especially with the Young Jeezy thing, and y'all are really being messy like the black women y'all complain about. If you have not viewed all of my videos, don't come up in here after just viewing one video and figure I favor women more than men and vice versa, because that is not the case. Check my resume, check the archives, and you will see I have also addressed black women the same way. You have these messy red pill raging pit bulls that like to come up in my comments, and they get offended anytime I have to say anything about a black man. You know, because truth be told, y'all been catching a lot of L's lately. You know, a lot of y'all content creators have been getting exposed for living double lives and not living what they preaching, losing channels. So y'all, it hasn't been the red pill winning season. You get what I'm saying? It's just been a lot of exposure and exploitation, and you got a lot of guys in their feelings about that. So anytime a woman has an opinion about a man, they have to vent and take that frustration out anywhere they can. So, you know, these you got these chat room termites, you know, that got in the comment section talking greasy, but it's cool. You know, if I feel like you're doing too much, I'll just block you and remove your comment. But getting back to what I was saying, Jeezy, like a lot of black men today, have become very how can I say the word? They have become very naive, and women who have learned to play the part of being a pretend pick-me. In other words, knowing how to stroke your ego, knowing the right things to say and do just to will you in and make you comfortable, only to set you up for a recipe of disaster once we have officially conquered you and you have given us full access to your world. Your world meaning that you now have married us, produced a family. You not only bring me into your world as your wife and the mother of your child, but now I will also be the beneficiary of your income, of all of your hard work and progress. I will also get the benefits of that. Now I will say this, because there's a lot of negative narratives going on, and people like to take situations like this and they want to demonize marriage and say this is the reason why you don't need to marry. Let me tell you something. This is not the reason you should not marry. This is the reason you should be selective about who you marry. See, a lot of these men aren't promoting that narrative. A lot of them, let's be honest, just like you got bitter black women out here, you got bitter ass black men out here who want to encourage other women not to get married. Just like you got some the sisters, and these sour sisters in the Bitterhood committee that's talking down on marrying black men who's trying to shun women away from marriage and make women believe you are better off being single, you don't need anybody. Truth of the matter is, we all need somebody. Y'all been overly consuming the Bitterhood, the bitter pill sisters, and the raging red pill pit bull brothers who've been basically trying to exterminate the true meaning of marriage. And to be honest, yes, marriage is not the solution to everything, and marriage does not automatically grant you happiness or means you will not get played, you will not get betrayed in some shape or form. But we also don't want to encourage men having multiple children for multiple women, and women having multiple children for multiple men, creating all these single parent households. Because let's face it, the black community is not going to stop having sex. They're not going to stop raw dogging. And like the good word says, like the Bible, it is better to marry than to burn in lust. Because a lot of people out here aren't being married. What they're doing is they're going around raw dogging. Because people are not going to stop having sex. Now, a lot of these brothers, they're not going to tell other black men, stop smashing these broads, stop having sex with these broads. They're not going to tell them that. They're not going to tell them, since you're not going to marry a woman, stop having sex with women. No, they will promote not to marry women, but I have yet to hear too many men say, stop having sex with these women. So therefore, as far as I'm concerned, you male content creators, if you're not going around here promoting to men, if you're not going to marry, be abstinent, then basically you're giving them a pass on smashing women without having to marry or commit to them, which in turn creates single parent households. Now, does that mean it's all the men's fault? Absolutely not, because these women, at the end of the day, we make the ultimate decision. We are the owners of our vagina. We own our property. So any man who we gain access, who we give access to our property, however he treats us after that, or whatever the consequences are after that, we have to live with it. But this is what I'm saying, is that if you're not gonna encourage marriage, then at least encourage abstinence. Because my thing is, we can't not program the black community into thinking it's acceptable to be going around here raw dogging random multiple people, collecting all these multiple sex partners, these multiple soul ties. And see, a lot of you men are not understanding, and I'm kind of digress a little bit. This is what I'm peeping. A lot of men are starting to act more and more like women. Okay? Meaning, every little thing offends them. You know, the breed of men that I see today, online, mostly, and these ones out here that smacking women and attacking women who reject them, you know, men out here who lashing out and shooting women, beating up on women, to get a world star moment, to go viral. A lot of it has to do with the fact is, you have to realize a lot of men out here are sleeping with multiple women unprotected. And not only do you transfer fluid or you transfer disease, you transfer what's called spiritual transmitted demons, STD. Spiritual transmitted demons, meaning you're going around collecting all of these spirits as you sexually participate in different sexual activities with multiple women. And see, what you guys are not understanding, it's a spiritual thing. I know a lot of y'all just looking at the fact you get to bust your nut and you feeling like the man and you feeling like the more bodies you know, you've been able to smash, and your mind, that gives you a sense of masculinity. But what you're not understanding is, a lot of you men that are acting like women, meaning you're quick to scream and yell, you having attitudes, you're getting feminine, wanting to argue and fight with other women. A lot of it has to do with all of these different spirits that you're carrying from all of these women is affecting you spiritually, to the point all these different mood swings. One minute you happy, then next minute you unraveling like a female, and you want to argue back and forth with women. You getting out of character to where you yelling or screaming. You getting overly emotional. A lot of it comes from the fact that you have spiritually bonded with a lot of unstable emotional women. Okay, and I know a lot of you don't think that deep because you're too busy looking at the physical attributes a woman has to offer, her beauty and her booty, but you're not looking at spiritually how damaged she is, or how spiritually demonic she is. And let me tell y'all something, it's not just ugly, unattractive women that are spiritually demonic. I know that's what y'all want to think. Y'all want to think it's the single mothers who have the 8-9 churn, and it's the overweight, whatever you consider unattractive. You automatically want to believe, you have programmed yourself into believing that it's the unattractive women that you have to watch out for. It is the single mothers that you have to watch out for. It is the women that are in poverty that you got to watch out for. When the truth is, you have to watch out for the women who you desire, because guess what? That is who the enemy uses to lure you in. The enemy is not going to lure you in with what you don't like. For instance, I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke weed. Never have. So the enemy, the devil, cannot tempt me with cigarettes or weed, because that's not a weakness for me. Okay, I don't have no temptation in that area, but he can tempt me with sweets. Sweets is something that I love. You know, I love pastries. I love cakes. That's a weakness for me. So being that I have a medical issue in which I have to monitor how much sugar intake I take in, that is something I have to really fight to discipline myself with. And this is the thing. Whatever you desire, chances are that's the lack of amount of discipline you're going to have for it. If you desire sweets, the less discipline you're going to have staying away from them. If you desire if sex is your weakness, if the vagina is your weakness as a man, if that's something you're easily to fall prey to, that's going to be something the enemy is going to always use to distract you and get your attention. So there's this false narrative that only non-colored women understand the nature of submissiveness. And I cannot be more clear enough to make y'all understand that times are very different now. All of these foreign women, non-colored women, they're not going for the okie doke anymore. The submissiveness is becoming almost as extinct, you know, as ever in this day and era. And y'all have to realize that when it comes to y'all utilizing the term modern women, y'all want to just formulate that word when it comes to black women. And what y'all don't understand is all women of all races in this day and age, gentlemen, have become modernized. And there's many factors because of that. There's many factors as to why it's going to become more and more challenging finding a woman who understands the nature of submissiveness. And if you think crossing over to the other side, getting you an Asian, a Korean, a Puerto Rican, a Latina, a white woman, if you think you playing it safe by going outside the race, is going to prevent you from dealing with the combative, what y'all consider the combative colored women, then you are sadly mistaken. And what I'm finding out is every day a lot of these guys are getting a rude awakening. They're getting a reality check because they have to divorce. They're divorcing and leaving, or either their snow bunnies are leaving them because these women are tired of playing the role. Listen, I'll put it this way: if these what y'all consider non-modern women are initiating a divorce, is because she's now tired of being the pretend pick me. Okay. She's played it long enough, like Dr. Dre's wife, Nicole, okay, who ultimately left Dr. Dre after having his children, after, Dr. Dre encountered a very turbulent trauma event in his life when he had that brain aneurysm, and darn near could have not made it. She took it upon herself to draw those divorce papers fast, and she actually drew the divorce papers before that, on their anniversary. But you know why? Because she was tired of being the pretend pick me. And what happens to a lot of these guys who go and think it's safe outside of their race, a lot of these women have become smart. The non-colored women have become smart. They know that a lot of these guys have considered them the prize. So what they're doing is they're capitalizing off of that. And it's only right, you know, when it's your winning season, this is the time, you know, to utilize it. You know what I mean? So a lot of these women, because y'all have put them on such a high pedestal, yes, all of you content creators who give these non-colored women praise and worship service, it has given them the ultimate advantage and being able to capitalize off of that. Now, this is not to say all non-colored women are like this, because indeed you do have some that are submissive and who do allow men to lead, just like you got some black women, not all are combative and stubborn and difficult to be with, who also are submissive and who allow their husbands to lead, because I am one of them. My husband is the alpha, and I respect that, and I allow him to uphold that position. And I'm not going to try to overly dominate him or conquer him in that. I'm comfortable in my skin being vulnerable as a woman and allowing him to lead. I don't want to take on that type of pressure, because leading is very exhausting. It takes a lot, and believe it or not, that's the reason why a lot of women are always so angry and hostile, because they have put themselves in leadership positions, and I don't want a man, I don't need a man, and now they burnt out, they angry and they bitter, because once you start taking on that role of a man, always wanting to lead everything, now you went from wanting to lead to now you have to lead. Okay, and that's why you got a lot of sisters around here that suffer from the case of burnout, having to lead as a mom, having to lead as a mother, having to lead as the breadwinner, the person, only person bringing in the income. So it does has its downsides, to being a leader or whatever. But you have these these non-colored women who either get frustrated and get tired of playing the role of the pretend pick me, especially once they have become accustomed to the lifestyle, and once they have invested X amount of years now to where they can benefit, they are jumping ship. As rapper Exhibit, his wife jumped ship. His non-colored wife jumped ship soon as she invested some children and invested some years, and basically try to take them to the cleaners, and take of everything he had. His wife was highly materialistic, and supposedly, allegedly, she's with somebody that's younger now, and left him for a younger rapper. I'm not sure. It's been a while, so I'm not sure what the latest, but that was the last thing I heard. But all of this is alleged, based off of entertainment and educational purposes only. Everything I say in this video is based off of my personal opinion. This is my disclaimer. So, or either if she's not leaving, the man will leave, like Young Jeezy. Young Jeezy found out right away that that Jeannie Mai played this role of being a pretend pick-me. During their dating, she probably was very humble, easygoing, allowed him to lead, gave him this false sense of thinking that she was respecting who he was as a man, respecting his leadership as a man, which indeed made him feel comfortable enough to marry her. Because Young Jeezy has been with enough of toxic women in his lifetime to kind of have a sense as to what not to involve himself with. With his first baby mama, his oldest son baby mama. It's been a lot of chaos between the both of them to where it almost severed the relationship he had with his son. Then he got with believe it or not, this is not Young Jeezy's first non-colored baby mama. The second one, also, he had drama with her, and supposedly, allegedly, the drama started when him and Jeannie Mai was talking, when him and her was supposed to be working on getting back together. And they do have a daughter that is also mixed breed. So Jeannie Mai's daughter is not Young Jeezy's only mixed child. Okay, he does have a beautiful daughter from, I'm not sure what her ethnicity is, but I don't know if she's I might need to look that up, because I don't want to give no incorrect information. So Young Jeezy's, I know his first baby mother, I think she has either 1 or 2 sons, and they are black. From him. His second baby mama, her name is Let me make sure I pronounce this, Gerbemedian. He had also been in a relationship with her, and they, at the time in the year of 2020, had a 6-year-old daughter. So if she was 6 years old in 2020, when what? 23, so she's about what, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 or 9 now. So he does indeed have another mixed breed daughter. So Jeannie Mai is not his first, and the reason why that relationship did not end up working out was because that's when she discovered that he had indeed proposed to Jeannie Mai. So Jeezy, young Jeezy, does not make the best of decision when it comes to how he handles things with women. So he made her believe that they were going to try to work on a relationship, and once she found out about the Jeannie Mai thing, that is when she went to sue him for child support, and basically he contested it in the court, saying she's only filing because she's bitter and upset that I want to start a new family, a new chapter with Jeannie Mai. So young Jeezy's kind of getting back his karma too, just like Jeannie Mai is. Jeannie Mai, like I said, was with her husband for 10 years, and she basically pissed on him. She pissed on her broke down Brad, because he wasn't making the money she wanted him to make, which is why she deprived him of having a child. But that's another story. I've already talked about that. So he found out right away that Jeannie Mai has some issues, and indeed a few bit of issues. And what I personally believe is that it didn't take long for him to see that Jeannie Mai was a piece of work. Just like the black women y'all complain about that's a piece of work. Keep in mind, some of these foreign women are a piece of work, because you have to realize there's this assumption that black women are the only modern women, when the truth indeed is a lot of women of all cultures and all races have become modernized because of the times we are in now. And see, Jeannie Mai had already been modernized just based off of her upbringing. Now, she stated in an interview recently that she had been raised in a household. This was before she did this interview, before young Jeezy blindsided her with the divorce. She stated during an interview that indeed she was raised in a household in which her grandmother was hot-headed, her grandfather was hot-headed, her mother was hot-headed. So Jeannie Mai was very transparent and basically stating that she came from a dysfunctional household in which she witnessed older adults that was supposed to be raising her and teaching her better. She was exposed to them being explosive and being angry all of the time. Now, had young Jeezy, had she sat down and explained this to young Jeezy like she did to this lady who was interviewing her, I think young Jeezy would have thought twice. But these are the issues that some of these pretend pick-me's will hide. They will hide that they came from dysfunctional households. They will hide that, they were not raised to be submissive. But see, there's this assumption, there's this stigma. Jeezy didn't think it was necessary, like a lot of these men out here. He didn't think it was necessary for him to psychologically dissect and learn her to make sure that she did not adopt any of these modernized character traits that they claim combative black women have. See, we think that anger is just an issue black women have, but truth indeed, it's not just black women, it's also non-black women who were raised in households where they were only exposed to anger and not being able to deal with it effectively and to be able to communicate these issues, which then ends up growing like a tumor and it follows her in every relationship. This is why Jeannie Mai first marriage failed, and here it is with Jeezy, her second marriage failed. Now here it is, it's a whole nother man of a whole nother color, yet the same results. Freddie already said, and he put it out there, her first husband said that Jeannie Mai was very crazy and was a whole lot to handle. Everybody was caping because they were so glad that young Jeezy had a non-colored woman. Everybody was basically shunning Freddie away for what he said because they thought he was a bitter Brad who was mad that his angry Asian bird, his angry Asian bird had moved on with the successful black man. So bitter Brad is just mad and hating, which indeed even young Jeezy saw it. So it goes to show you, when a woman has issues, it does not matter if she's with a white man for 10 years or a black man for 2 years. That baggage is going to show and manifest in every relationship. And that's exactly what happened, because Jeannie Mai has become the Asian angry bird. You know, and we've seen her low-key get into it with other people. We've seen her on her show The Real bump heads through discussions with other women. How she tries to dominate the conversation. How she tries to act like she knows everything. So I could only imagine what Brad went through for 10 whole years and what Jeezy had to go through for 2 years. Now keep in mind, they've been separated since August. Jeezy just put the divorce out there, but they've been separated since August, and rumor has it he actually been wanting out since July. Young Jeezy saw that Jeannie Mai was nowhere this submissive woman who he thought she was. Because think about it, he went on how she looked. He assumed since she had the complexion for the connection, she automatically knew how to be submissive. So he already figured he had the game on lock because she's not black. Okay, so it means she's automatically going to be submissive. Not only that, she did the pretend pick me phase for a little while to make him feel comfortable. And as she said in her interview, young Jeezy had to check her. And put her in her place. So I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to play a little snippet of it because I want y'all to hear. I don't want to put no words in nobody's mouth. So I'm going to just play this little small snippet so y'all can get a better, thorough understanding coming from her own words of mouth how Jeannie Mai admits that she's an angry bird and has issues. I want you guys to understand this. I want y'all to understand anger is not just a black woman's issue. Anger is an issue from a woman who was raised in a household in which nobody taught her how to communicate effectively. But we're going to check it out, okay? I'm going to play it.
But I have always worked on growing, healing, and evolving. And when I look at when I didn't want to have kids, I was really happy and content with where I was. But I was still trying to grow. Today, let's just say I didn't have a child. I'd still see myself as evolved and continuing to. You never become fully evolved, right? But something happened and I just changed my mind. I said, you know what? And it really is, because I'm in a trustworthy relationship and I also am not being so hard on myself anymore and I've healed, I changed my mind and I said, you know what? I want to be a mom. I chose it.
Okay, let's keep it a buck. You chose to be a mom with Jeezy that you've all only knew for years. Okay, for 2 years. For a year and some change, okay. 2 years, right? A man who already has other children, because remember, brothers are always telling other brothers to avoid women who already have children. And I get it. I get it, because I feel the same way. I feel a person who doesn't have kids shouldn't get involved with somebody who has kids, man or woman. That's just my opinion, but do what you do what makes you happy. So, this is what Jeannie Mai chose. She been in a long-term 10-year marriage with a man who had no children, no baggage, who obviously she loved, because let me tell y'all something. She used to brag on Freddie, just like she bragged on Jeezy. Now, I know a lot of you men don't know that, okay? But Freddie was her everything, okay? And he wanted a child. And she was with this man for 10 years, and she kept denying him and depriving him of that. Why? Because Freddie was a broke down Brad. He was not baking that bread like young Jeezy was. But she opted to have her first child from a man who already had baby mamas, from a man who supposedly got millions. So that's what made her change her mind. But, you know, again, a lot of these guys look at these women like the prize, and they just really believe that Jeannie Mai had young Jeezy's best interest. No, she did not. The only interest she was looking out was for herself. She knew she was going to land a lifestyle of luxury had she gotten with Jeezy, and that's what happened. So that's what made her change her mind. But again, she's not going to admit to that. She wanted a baby because, for one, she may be one of those women who have a fetish for having a mixed child, because you do have some women who intentionally want to have mixed breed babies from non-colored men. And then you also have women who want to have babies because they're trying to secure the bag. And that is exactly what Jeannie Mai did. But then again, according to the past pill bros and according to the red pill consecrated bros, no, Jeannie Mai is a real woman who had the best interest for her and Jeezy, according to them. They don't think that, though.
I decided to shift my perspective and choose this for myself.
Woo! This week's topic is one that everybody can contribute.
Okay. Change for love, then it's not the right person for you.
Right.
But you changed a lot.
A lot. I don't agree with that school of thought, because I don't expect somebody to change for me, but I want them to grow and to become better versions of themselves for them. Like the person who, my favorite quality in a person that I think is so attractive is self-awareness. I love when someone's self-aware, to be like, you know what? That was kind of narcissistic of me, or that was kind of selfish of me, or that, and then whatever you see when you call that out, do what you got to do in order to kind of grow out of that, or stop, or
Okay, so I want to stop right there. She said she didn't think it was necessary for change. A person shouldn't change. She don't expect a person to change themselves. I beg to differ. I disagree with that. Marriage does come with change. So this already tells you, if she feels that another person does not have to change, y'all don't think that she doesn't believe that she doesn't have to change either? In other words, this is who I am. Accept me for who I am. I should not have to change until I realize I need to change, which is the reason she made her second point of, I find it attractive when a person gains self-awareness. In other words, they understand what they need to work on themselves versus having to be told that. So from what I'm perceiving is, you don't think that if somebody tells you need to change or work on something, unless you bring it to your own attention, you don't think it's necessary for you to make those changes. So you have to read in between the lines. You can't just look at the fact that she's Asian and she's pretty, that that she's not running game in a sense, you know. So she's already kind of saying that I don't think a person needs to change, but in actuality, in marriage, you have to change. You cannot, in other words, no, a person shouldn't change your makeup, or shouldn't change what kind of clothes you like to wear, or change you're a vegetarian, now they're trying to make you eat oxtails, whatever. But what it does mean is your mindset of when you was a single woman, you can't carry that into the marriage as a married woman, or your mindset as a single man, you cannot carry that into the marriage. So she's already letting you know, and this is part of the reasons it's going to make sense why young Jeezy left the way he did. If you pay attention and read in between the lines, she's throwing herself up under the bus without really realizing it.
Draw a boundary between you and that person. For example, I have a really hot temper. Not a lot of people know this, but it's just something in my family. I've seen it in my grandmother. I saw it in my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my mom, to my aunts, to me, right? But I didn't notice it in myself until I was with Jeezy.
Okay, this is another contradiction. Now, she said she likes self-awareness when a person can come to their own conclusion, that they realize, I need to work on not being a narcissist, I need to work on not being a liar. But now she's saying she did not notice it was an issue until young Jeezy called her out. So which one is it, Jeannie Mai? Your own demons, do you have to notice them before somebody else calls them out? Well, in this case, Jeezy had seen it so much, he had to put her in her place. And he had to put his foot down. And as a man, if you want order in your household, and as a woman, if you want order in your marriage, you wouldn't have a problem adhering to your husband's boundaries that he sets for you, as long as it's within reason. It's a difference between a man being overly controlling, and more so, we're talking about your husband. This is for married folks, okay? Marriage, all right? I ain't talking about your baby daddy or your baby mama trying to control. That's a whole nother jurisdiction. But she did not see it as a problem. Now she's admitting to you. That's why I say you cannot go past how a woman looks because she's Asian, she's Mexican, Hispanic, Latino, or whatever. You can't assume that she already knows how to be submissive. Depending on her upbringing, depending on the structure of her family, she says she's seen this in several generations, starting with her mother, her grandmother, her grandfather, then her mother. So this is 2 generations thus far of being exposed into a family in which being angry was normalized, and she claims she didn't see anything wrong with it till Jeezy called her out. Now, we could take that one of 2 ways. Who's to say Freddie didn't tell her the same thing? But there's this assumption, because Freddie is a white man, that he was probably docile and submissive, and he probably didn't check her on it. Who's to say Freddie didn't tell her the same thing? But because she wasn't feeling Freddie like that, she didn't feel she had to humble or submit herself to him. But Jeezy, because you're married to him and he has all of this money and you're trying to secure the bag, you acted as if you didn't have a problem with hearing that from him. But this is the thing. Even though Jeezy told her about it and she acted like she didn't have an issue with trying to correct it, the thing is she couldn't, because it's not in her nature to be submissive. You got to remember, she's been raised into a family in which she has seen them not be able to have any control over their anger. And this is where Jeezy fumbled the ball. Had he gotten to know her a lot longer, he would have seen this from the jump before he invested in becoming her husband and the father of her first child.
Interesting. You didn't notice in your previous marriage?
No, because it has to do with the type of relationship you have and the type of respect you have for that person.
You didn't, so the lady asked, the interviewer asked her, you didn't notice this in your first marriage? No, because you ain't gave a damn enough about your bottom shelf Brad to care. You ain't give a damn. What it was, you couldn't really get what you wanted, so you settled for the broke down Brad, which I will say, he's not really broke down. He's happily married. He's had children since then. So he's moved on with his life. He's not in his feelings like that. But I'm just saying, at that time, no, you didn't care if Brad had anything to say or if he felt some type of way, because you was not feeling him like that. First of all, Brad ain't had the money you wanted, So you ain't gave a damn if he sat up here and told you about your anger and your hostility. No, you did not care for that man. And this is indeed the very reason why you're getting back all the karma that you were getting back. Because you sat in that 10-year marriage and you didn't respect your husband enough to listen to him. Because I'm sure Jeezy is not the only man who told you that. You can't tell me in 10 years, I don't care how submissive a man is, he addressed it to her. I'm sure he has. I'm sure he said, you need to calm down. You know, what the only difference was Jeezy shut it down right away. Freddie might have spoken and addressed it, but he didn't shut it down as quickly as Jeezy did, because Jeezy is no nonsense. He's not going for it. You got to realize Jeezy done already been through hell and back with women, okay? With his baby mamas. He's been through a lot already with women. So Jeezy's patience is not going to be near as long-winded as Freddie. Freddie took more because Freddie didn't have baby mamas. He hadn't went through a lot with women compared to Jeezy. So he had more patience with Jeannie Mai, and he had been with her for a long time. It was more history invested. So whenever there's more history invested, you are most likely to tolerate a lot more compared to somebody who did not have that much of an investment in you. That's why young Jeezy had no problem with leaving that child main. Let's continue.
To mirror things back to you, where you actually would stop you in your tracks and evaluate yourself, you know?
So you had it.
So I
you
had it,
didn't
but
acknowledge it as a problem.
nobody ever called me out on it. Also, in my line of work, sometimes being a boss isn't so great for you, because you have a lot of people who just agree to what you want. They're yes men, right? And so I didn't notice that I had a hot temper until I got with Jeezy, and here's a person who is my equal, and I
don't know if some of you pass pork bros or red pill bros. I don't know if y'all caught that or not. But let's pump the brakes. First of all, when she said she didn't notice it until young Jeezy, we know that's a lie. Brad done been with her. He done told her that. The A word that black women are allergic to, which is called accountability. Evidently, that's also an issue that Jeannie Mai has, is not taking accountability, because she blamed being hard-headed on her career as a boss, stating that, hey, because I'm used to being in authority over people as a businesswoman, and people underneath my authority have become yes men. They always agree and do what I say. That enhanced my hard-headedness, my bossiness, because I'm used to getting my way. It sounds like to me, what's the word? Lack of accountability. Something y'all state that only black women have. Black women, we don't take accountability. Well, it sounds like to me the Asian Angry Bird does not take accountability either. She blames her hard-headedness on her her upbringing, because she said her grandparents or her parents had this issue. Now she's also blaming it on her profession. First of all, you're going to have yes men underneath you because they are employed. That wasn't even a really good analogy to use, to be honest with you. Now, if she said, I got friends who always do what I say, or I got family who always do what I say, okay, that's a little different. But you cannot correlate business with personal, because I knew even when I was working, I always went along for the most part with what my boss said, because that's their organization. Unless they was doing something personally to harm me or something like that or whatever, then I would address it. But that is what employees do. Employees don't really call those in authority with higher positions over them out, unless, you know, it's something that has occurred that grounds merit for that. This just sounds like another way of getting around taking accountability and saying that I'm just a bitch. And guess what? All women, we all have a bitch switch. It don't matter the color. It don't matter the race. All women, we can be beastie according to the situation in which you bring the beast out of us. So sounds like to me, Jenny, listen, remember, this interview was before the divorce. Who's to say that she knew? She kind of sensed Jeezy was checking out mentally, and her way of trying to make him empathize and sympathize was by doing this interview. And that was her way, because you got to realize Jeannie Mai is used to being seen. She's used to being on the cameras. She loves to be on camera. So it seemed like that's when she's the most transparent, is when the camera lens is in her face. That's when she spills all her guts out. She tells everything. That's why she made that comment about, I'd rather have dark meat on the side because white meat keeps me mean and lean. When the cameras come in Jeannie Mai's face, that is when she's the most transparent. Okay? So she probably felt Jeezy been feeling some type of way about her Angry Bird attitude, and what her doing this interview, she probably was hoping that Jeezy would hear this and believe that she was acknowledging that I know I'm angry, and I respect the fact that you did confront me, you did put me in my place, you did tell me about, I'm hearing you, I understand you're getting frustrated. That this probably could have been her way of gaslighting the situation to make it seem as if to Jeezy, she knows that she's giving him a hard time, and she realizes she needs to work on it. It's like some type of reverse psychology thing, but Jeezy wasn't going for it. But let's proceed.
Really respect. And when I would spew some of my old habits, and he was like, like, who? That's not flying here. And also, it would trigger him to come back at me with things where I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? But I was triggering him. So through work, we learned that we both have certain habits that to the everyday person, from friends, family, fans, they'll never see it. Mm-hmm. But to the person who loves us deep enough, you can press that button and boom, the dragon comes out.
Okay, so I'm not going to play too much of that. I got to respect the content creator's craft from work. But as you can see, she said Jeezy had to check her. And even she was like, what the F are you? Oh, but no, that's only black women. No, that's only us. Only we get out of character. What the fuck you mean? I am a black woman. You are going to respect me. You're going to put some respect on my name. Who do you think you are? You're not going to talk to me like that. And angry is automatically associated to black women. I've seen foreign women of all colors. Look, Russell Simmons can tell you. He's seen Kamara Simmons be beastie several times. Okay, the black women are not the only women with attitudes. We're not the only ones that's angry. You have to realize a lot of these foreign women have not come from cultures in which they were always in environments in which there was never no confrontation, in which the woman in which she was exposed to a woman who just was quiet, fixed her husband's plate of food, washed his feet, and was at his every beck and call. All foreign women did not grow up in that world. And you have to realize so many foreign women have become so modernized, not just because of how they was raised, but it's what they're being exposed to. You have, for one, Jeannie Mai has been around a lot of different black women. Okay? She conversates with them. She hangs out with them. She's friends with them. Not only that, I think, I don't want to blame it and say being around just modern black women does rub off, but in some instances it does, and you don't have to just be an Asian woman for modern women's habits to rub off on you. You could be a black woman and be around black women yourself, and sometimes if you're not careful, a lot of the company you keep their ways rub off on you. Girl, I ain't gotta listen to no man. Hell with a man, with shit. I don't let no man tell me what to do. I do how I want to do. No different than if you're a married man and you may be around guys who aren't married and may make you feel like being married is being a simp. Being married is not something that's valued. If you sit around that stuff long enough, it's going to affect you. Like my grandfather used to say, you can't sit around people who smoke cigarettes all day and think you're not going to smell like cigarettes. The fume is going to rub off on you. So this modern attitude has a lot to do with what type of company you keep, the women you hang around. And when you hang around women who constantly have to put it in your face that a man should not be leading you, or if you're a real woman, you'll have your own mind and you don't have to respect or listen to what your husband say. After a while, you know, it will tend to take a toll on you. A lot of people don't know that. Like when Portia Williams was on the Atlanta Housewives show, and she was married to former NFL player, I forgot the man's name, but when she was married to, I got to look his name up because I forgot the name, but until I find it, she was in a very she was in a marriage in which she was very submissive to her husband. At that current time, she was married to Cordell Stewart. On the show, we've witnessed, all of us who was Atlanta Housewives fans from the beginning of time, we witnessed how humble and submissive Portia Williams was to Cordell Stewart. They had their own rules, their own way in which you know, their match was orchestrated. Cordell Stewart was the alpha male, and Portia Williams respected that role in that leadership. She was very submissive, and the fact that she was younger than him as well gave him more leverage on her being submissive to him, which is why a lot of these guys want to keep pushing this narrative to date younger women. But if she was not raised under women who taught her the value of submissiveness, you get with a young woman and she's still going to have modern women ways. So again, it has everything to do with the upbringing and other factors. But anyway, Portia had no issues with following Cordell's leadership. That was until she got around Nene, got around all of the and Kenya and all the other older women, you know, who practically was the alpha women who dominated their marriages and dominated their relationship. When she would tell them, well, my husband was nice enough to let me come out and be with y'all today or whatever, they was like, what do you mean your husband allowed you to come out? But yeah, I remember when basically she was just letting them know that, hey, you know, I'm glad my husband was nice enough to let us go out. And when she did that, those women got together like vultures and they let her have it. I mean, they belittled her like, what you mean your husband let you go out? You mean he let you? You not a grown enough woman where you can't make your own decisions? And, you know, even though it may have been overbearing to other women, but just because your husband may not have a problem with that, maybe her husband does. And instead of the other ladies respecting how her and Cordell handle their marriage, they basically belittle her for it. So more and more Cordell started having problems with Portia because Portia became very modernized, being around other women who was making her feel like she was less of a woman by allowing her man to lead in everything. Not understanding that was what was working for them. And what works for one marriage does not necessarily mean it's going to work for the other. So anyway, that's another thing. You have women, these foreign women, they're getting exposed to American women. So a lot of American women are becoming modernized to where they don't think submissiveness is that valuable anymore. You know, so you have women who have lost their sense of submissiveness because they're constantly being exposed to other women who don't value that. And another factor that plays into a woman not being as submissive is if she's very independent. I do agree with that to a certain degree. When a woman has had her own business for a long time, has made her own money for a long time, has always had the lead in everything, after a while it's very, very hard to learn how to humble yourself and let a man take over. Let a man lead, not lead you to the point to where your well is running dry and he's wiping out your bank accounts and, you know, you losing, but you're actually gaining and he's helping you to become better. That's the benefit in allowing a man to lead. Not a man that's out to lead you to destruction, but a man that is out to lead you to construction, where he's trying to build you up versus tearing you down. And that's the difference. So those are some factors in which to it makes it hard for a woman to be able to transition and being humble enough to let a man trust a man to lead. And then you have some women who have trust issues. If they have been molested or sexually abused by any type of male figure, she may not trust a man to lead. And therefore you have a lot of modern women out here who have been molested and taken advantage of by men within leadership, whether it was her own father, her brother, or uncle, whatever that male figure that was supposed to protect her, who took advantage of her and ruined her trust by sexually abusing her. That may deter her train of thinking in, if I be submissive to this man, he may abuse me, he may hurt me, etc. But it's a lot of factors other than a woman's color, her skin tone, and her culture in which a man should automatically assume she's going to be submissive. That is not always the case. Keep in mind, a lot of women in these foreign countries too, who are not even born or raised in the States, they're going to become more and more modernized because we have what's called what? Technology. And they also have access to Instagram, Facebook, all these social websites in which they are constantly being exposed to modern women, seeing women dressed very explicit, seeing video footage go viral of women disrespecting men, challenging men, or pushing out narratives that you don't need to allow a man to lead. So a lot of these foreign women who are not even from the States, they're getting modernized through technology, through social media. Before we had that, before we had Facebook and Twitter, all of these, a lot of things women was not exposed to then like they are now. Same thing with these men. You're going to get a lot of men that's going to become modern. You're going to have a lot of men that's going to become modernized. They're also not going to respect leadership like a lot of women don't respect submissiveness. Because you have a lot of men that are being taught that they don't have to lead a woman. They don't have to lead and provide. They don't have to lead and paying the bills. Let her do it. She a woman. Let her do it on her own. So you have social media that is tainting a woman's role to be submissive, just like they're tainting a man's role to be a leader, a provider, and a protector. A lot of that is happening in the black YouTube sector because, again, it's this gender war thing that keeps spilling over. And you have a lot of people who've never been married. You have a lot of these men who never even been in relationships. You have a lot of women who never been married, never been in relationships. But these are the ones that are getting the most views on their content. People are actually worshiping and valuing what these individuals have to say. And these individuals don't have any real receipts to prove that they know what it takes to keep a woman happy, or they know what it takes to keep a man happy. But what they do know how to prove is that black women ain't shit and black men ain't shit. They'll prove that day in and day out. Anytime something goes viral with a black woman doing something dumb, they know how to do content on that and make it a big deal so they can prove their narratives that black women ain't got their stuff together. No different than to see a black man fail and have to use it as content in order to make their points valid. So it's one thing to do content on something if you're trying to get others to learn from it versus you're using it to continue to push your narrative that we don't have to value the opposite gender. It's not always what you do, but how you do it and why you do it. So nevertheless, I'm going to get ready to shut it down. That is why you cannot assume because a woman is non-colored, she is going to be submissive and humble, because these foreign women, these non-colored women, at the end of the day, a woman is a woman. All of us want to be able to benefit from the men in our lives at some form or another. No woman wants a broke man. So if you're going to call one group of women a gold digger, call all women gold diggers. Because no woman, regardless of her race, wants a man that cannot provide and give her the best of things in life. If you're going to say one group of women have attitudes, you're going to have to generalize. You're going to have to make that more clear, because all women of all races and all cultures all have attitudes. Listen, I have worked for non-colored women who were very, very nasty. I I thought it was only black women that I would have an issue working with. I've had issues with certain white women, with certain Puerto Rican women, with certain Mexican women. Listen, I remember I had a neighbor next door. I had some Mexicans who used to live next door. This woman used to demasculate her Mexican husband every day. She cursed him out every day, y'all, no lie. She would call him all the puntas, or the maricampitón. She would literally belittle him every single day. And the funny part is, if I never heard how she behaved and heard her talk like that, if I saw them in the street somewhere, I never would have even thought that she was that mean and nasty to him. And the guy was very humble. He was very easygoing. And she would literally cuss him out and scream and yell at him every day. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I know I don't always feel bad for men, but you can just tell this guy was like, he really could not do nothing with her. And this chick was petite and tiny, and he's like a big old buff guy, and he was with this angry bird, who dominated him. Would get mad and bust the windows, bust his windshield every other week, and he'll just work and replace it. I'm like, this is the third time this dude that got his windshield replaced by Safe Light Auto. Safe Light Auto had to come out at least once every 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all need to break up before somebody kills somebody, But don't assume because a woman is non-colored that she's not going to give you problems. That she's just going to comply and she's going to go with what you say, okay? And same thing for all my ladies out there. Don't think the bottom shelf Brad is just going to be humble and comply and go with everything you want. Because let me tell you something. These bottom shelf Brads, they done got hip to the game. They know that there's a lot of women out here pushing for black women to date outside of their race. They know that some of these bottom shelf Brads, they know we're not in a good place with black men, and they're capitalizing off of that. And a lot of races are capitalizing off of black men and black women not being on the same page. And they're finding a space, they're zoning in, and meanwhile, they're benefiting off of our hate for one another. So, that pretty much wraps up my point that I wanted to make about don't think you're safe because you've transformed to another race. Thinking that now that you're with this non-colored man, this non-colored woman, you're not going to have no problems. They're going to submit. They're going to go along with what you want. They're going to agree and do what it takes to make you happy. No, because at the end of the day, a human being is a human being. And like I said, all women got a bitch switch. Piss us off, regardless of our color, regardless of our age, whatever. You are going to see a side of her that it's not going to be so pleasant. So just keep that in mind. Before I get ready to shut things down, I also want to state that I do have an anger management class that's coming up now. Keep in mind and understand that a lot of us, we love to be entertained by the fuckery. We love gossip. We love beef. We love drama. But what about doing something that's going to be beneficial to your mental? I am doing a anger management online class. It's going to only be for 1 hour, okay? For the first 15 individuals who actually email me, you'll have 3 days to choose from: October 5th, 12th, and the 19th. All of those days on a Thursday. Inbox me. Let me know what day you want to come in and view the anger management online class, and I will register you. It will not cost you a dime. I won't be charging for any anger management classes until after October. So the first 15 people who register, meaning you send an email to Anonymous by Choice 79, and I'm going to put it to the bottom. You send me an email and let me know that you're interested, and you choose a date, you've already registered. It's as simple as that. No applications, nothing deep, or whatever the case is. Once you submit that information to me, I will send you a link from StreamYard the day before. So if you signed up for the October 5th one, and that's the one you said you would like to do, by the way, all are going to be for 1 hour, and all are going to start at 6 o'clock, okay? So, beam, bam, my goal is to start at 6, and we shut it down at 7. And it's going to be on a Thursday, because I know on Fridays, people be wanting to woosah, and on the weekends, people want to be with their families, so I chose Thursday. Only the first 15 will be able to register for free. So far, I've gotten 2 that's interested. So that puts me down to 13 more individuals, because I'm only doing 5 per session for 3 sessions, okay? So if you're interested, this is the time for you to heal and rebuild. We have to work on anger management. If I could have got Jeannie Mai to sign up and register for my class, I definitely would be willing to help her. But nevertheless, if you are struggling with anger management, keeping your anger under control, having positive tactics on how to be able to deal and control and monitor your anger, I think this will be very effective. This is something you feel like you need. Don't be embarrassed to reach out. Don't be ashamed to reach out. It is for free. I don't mind, I don't mind coming over here, kicking it with y'all, and we discussing the fuckery and turning up and having a good time. But at the same time, as black men and black women, we need to keep our mental, we need to make that a priority. If you know anger is an issue, aggression, I advise you to take this free course. It's only 1 hour. You may learn something effective out of it. It's not going to be just a recorded session, a still video like what I'm doing now. You're going to actually interact with me. We're going to be on the StreamYard doing a live chat. I'm going to let you come in on the mic, come on the panel and stuff, and things of that nature, so you can actually interact with me. This is not just going to be something you just sit through and listen like it's a presentation. We're going to do some actual interaction, because how can we rebuild if we don't heal? And it's a lot of us that are struggling with anger management issues, not just Jeannie Mai. So if you're one of those individuals, please make sure you email me so I can register you before I get booked, because 15 people, that's my cutoff point. After that, anybody else is going to have to pay for their sessions. And my rates are going to be very reasonable. So it'll definitely be worth it. You got to learn how to invest into your mental, like you invest into your home, you invest into your children, invest into your marriage, invest in yourself, invest in your mental well-being, okay? Just like it's no price when it comes to going on these vacations, going on cruises, and other things that's materialistic. Make sure you invest into your mental health like you do into this materialistic wealth. So anyway, y'all be blessed. Hit that like button before you leave. It is your diva and knowledge, Lady Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Y'all take care. Be blessed.